Hello, I'm Justin Marks. I'm the Business Development Manager here at Valplast, as well as one of the technical instructors that we have on staff here at our corporate headquarters in New York. And today I'm going to show you how to properly adjust and insert a Valplast flexible partial. So what we're going to use to do this is a number 13 greenstone, which we make available through our Valplast branded line of products. We're going to use this on a slow speed handpiece and gently remove some of the peripheral border and some of the clasp extensions so that the partial fits better. This is the box of number 13 greenstones that we offer from Valplast. They're available in a box of 100 stones as well as smaller packages of 10 stones, which makes it more convenient for the dental clinic. So here we have our Valplast flexible partial denture, and it's important to note before we make any adjustments that because this is a flexible material that uses a tissue-borne clasp, this clasp itself should always be in a relaxed state rather than actively compressing the tissues to the point where it blanches. So if the clasp itself does need an adjustment because it's too tight or too loose, there's another technique that we would recommend for doing that rather than actually grinding on the material. Because Valplast material is flexible, it gets its flexural modulus from the thickness that it's being used at. And we don't want to make the material too flexible by thinning it out too much and grinding it down. So actually it would be better to perhaps put this clasp in very hot water for a period of about 1 minute and then bend it outwards in order to relax that elastic memory. And that would be a better option if we have a clasp that's fitting too tight in the patient's mouth. Now, in a lot of cases, the denture may also need adjustment because the peripheral border is overextended, or perhaps this clasp is extended a little too far into the soft tissue undercut. In these situations, we're going to use the number 13 greenstone that we just showed you, and we're going to do some gentle relief of that periphery edge. So I'm using this stone at quite a slow speed, about 20,000 RPMs on a lab handpiece. And one of the more important things to keep in mind here is that we want to have a good bracing position against our thumb in order to stabilize the stone that we're going to rub over the surface quite quickly. And we can see by doing this that the material flakes off very gently, leaving a smooth surface behind. Most of the adjustments that will be necessary for a Valplast are going to occur on the peripheral border, or in some cases inside a clasp, usually against mesial and distal undercuts that need some relief. Now, in a lot of cases, these white fibers can be removed just from the greenstone itself, and in a lot of cases we don't even need to use a blade or a rubber wheel to go over it afterwards. So if we're looking just to reduce the periphery edge, this will do a good job of that. And we can do the same thing if the clasp is perhaps overextended. Now, with the Valplast clasp, it is important to note that these do engage tissue undercuts for retention. So we don't want to relieve the border so much that the clasp is rendered unretentive. Now, in some situations, we may have a case where the denture teeth, the replacement tooth itself, is perhaps fitting too tight in between some bounded natural teeth, some interproximal spaces and mesial distal undercuts that perhaps need relieving. So in order to do this, we're going to again use the greenstone, and the shape and the size of this allows us to get in the tissue-borne areas here and relieve this distal undercut next to the abutment tooth. Now again, we want to avoid grinding on the actual clasp itself because already it's fabricated to the right thickness and we don't want to make that too flexible. So here we're just grinding on this surface. There we go. And we could use a sharp blade just to remove some of those fibers afterwards. Or in some cases, the greenstone takes care of it for you. Now, when the denture comes back from the dental laboratory, it should already have a high gloss and a nice polish, just like acrylic dentures. Additional polishing may be necessary only if heavy adjustments are being done, or if the partial comes back for a follow-up visit from the patient. But using this greenstone properly with this technique will yield a smooth surface, generally on tissue-borne areas, so a lot of times in the office polishing is not necessary. If polishing is necessary, please refer to our polishing demonstration video at valplast.com. With that, we'd like to thank you for joining us, thank you for choosing Valplast, and invite you to contact us if you have any further questions or concerns regarding your Valplast partials. Thank you for joining us, and check back often at valplast.com for further updates and technical videos.